Flow. Trash Bell presents The Flow. We are here on this wonderful Saturday as it is nice and windy and slightly nip with a little bit of rain. So if you're out there driving, be safe, be careful. On The Flow, we are going to flow into some things. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of different things that hopefully give you some tips, some tools. We had a whole segment planned, but we had to do a little rearranging as the weather and this type of you know situation sometimes enables people from getting out and be safe. If you have slick ball tires out there on the streets, don't drive today on curbs going fast. Slow down. I'm laughing, but I'm really serious. So first things first, let's talk about the check-in. We had a 2-week hiatus, and that hiatus was pretty sweet for us because it's always good to take a break, and not only take a break but to really just kind of align and get yourself in a position to move forward through the months because we're in the middle of the first quarter and almost done. As a business owner, I see the world in quarters, but I actually don't know what day it ever is. Yeah. But the check-in is, how are you doing, right? We are now, what, 5, 6 weeks into the new year. And some of you had made promises to yourselves. Some of you had said, I have this resolution that I'm going to stick to. I swear to God, it's going to be a new year. I swear to God, it's going to be a new year. It's going to be a new me. I'm going to change. So how you doing, right? Let's bring it full circle. How have you been doing in this 6 weeks? Usually around week 4, people start to lose motivation and momentum. By week 6, they've completely fell off the wagon and is definitely not doing the things that they want or they said they were going to do. And this is what we talked about before as far as the habit. The habit will come back up. The habit will sneak in completely into your subconscious and your conscious mind. And you will go back to doing all the things that you were doing before. So, in order for you to not continue that process, it's important. It's very important that you really just stick to it. And what that means is you got to be determined. You have to be willing to push yourself past your comfort level. It's going to make you uncomfortable, 100%. And if you think that this was something that was going to be comfortable, then you clearly have never done sit ups until your stomach cramps. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. But it also keeps your core tight and strong, and it supports your lower back. It also helps your organs to function better because they're now being supported and squeezed in, and they're doing this motion. They're pumped on the way they're supposed to be. So, again, how you doing? Right? Very important to always ask and question, how are we doing? And then check in with yourself because there's a lot of mental health checks that we miss. And mental health is really important, everyone. It's not a fad. It's not a something that is just a part of a generation. you know, a lot of times the older generation, they relate mental health to like being psychotic, and that's not the same thing. Um, so it's important that we understand that mental health is a very, very, very important part of our reality and our society, and a part of our nation. America has a really, really, really terrible, terrible mental health crises, and that is the fact that there is no help. There's not even enough therapists in our country to digest or even attempt to solve the problem of how many people have mental illnesses and are mentally unwell in our country. The system alone puts people in dramatic stress, the systematic stress of poverty, lack. That alone keeps you completely locked in to a cycle of it's called the vicious cycle of stress. And it is a absolute cycle. And this is how it works. And this is something that we actually know in medicine and psychology, mental health. It's crazy that we know it, but for some reason don't even give it to the public. So the vicious cycle of stress is that once the mind, the brain, starts to trigger ideas, that then idea turns into a chemical. And that said chemical is now going to rush through the bloodstream into the organs, into the muscle fibers, and it's going to program the body to react because it now thinks that it's being attacked by a lion. It's afraid. It's being, it's in danger. And even though this danger is only in your mind, it's not actually happening in real life. It's still happening on micro levels. And so, from this body part, now that you've programmed your body to accept these hormones, now the body is going to look for these hormones because it's used to them. It's a habit. So, this is now the cycle. If you can imagine this being a circle, the top part of the circle is going to be your thoughts. The 3 o'clock part is going to be your biochemistry. And then the 6 o'clock area is going to then be your body response. When you come back to the 9 o'clock side of that circle, we're now talking about the body needing to feed itself these hormones because you've completely programmed yourself. And then those hormones are then going to go to the mind, recycling back to the brain to trigger the same neural process over and over and over and over. So it's an absolute cycle, 100%. And if you don't know how to break the cycle, then you will stay stressed out. You will stay overwhelmed. You will stay in anxiety. You will stay in depression. You will stay in the state of which you are until you break it. Now, tools to get yourself out of the funk, right? And that's what I mean. The sometimes life happens, right? That's why this show is called The Flow, because life happens. Sometimes life throws you off the flow. Sometimes you get into a flow. Sometimes you fall into another rhythm, right? It's all flowing, it's all moving. So the tools to get yourself out of a funk whenever you're feeling the specific way are very simple. For one, you have to have daily movement. The reason you have to move your body daily is because it moves blood and nutrients around and it actually removes the stress and brings nutrients into your body. So does stretching. Me being a therapist and working with people in chronic pain and helping them with their body, the people that are the most in pain are the ones that are the least flexible. Now, that is not me trying to make a hypotenuse about what theory I think is right for the human body based on their lifestyle choices. No, this is literally subatomic, like way beyond gross anatomy, which means like the big part of anatomy. This is the fundamentals of your buildup, of your makeup, of your body, the biochemistry, the smaller parts of you. They need movement. They need to be stretched. Whenever your muscles are tight, it's like beef jerky, and beef jerky doesn't move that much. And it's going to pull on your joints, and then you're going to have joint pain because you don't stretch. And the other part is your liquid intake is solely Dr. Pepper. You know what happens to water? Water is necessary, everyone. So stretching, moving your body, which is either some type of exercise or some type of walking, helps to move blood and nutrients. Stretching and drinking water also helps to move blood and nutrients. Water, it cleans the blood. Think about it. How do you clean your dishes? You don't put grease on them and try to scrub it. You don't put more gunk on the dishes. You don't put Dr. Pepper on your dishes and try to scrub it. Although the chemical and the acid content in Dr. Pepper is so high, it will actually clean your dishes because it will burn all the crap off of it, which also means that it's burning the crap out of your intestines. And I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at the fact that we don't know that as a society. Sick, sad world we live in right now, guys. Um, I won't get into that part, but I will just help you have these tips and tools because that's what matters. So, from the idea of stretching and moving your body with exercise, it's also this fun thing called somatic movement. And I get my kids to do this all the time. And I actually have my child here, my youngest son, on the, he's sitting with me, but he's not yet going to come on. But I have them do this sometimes where they do the hokey pokey, where they turn themselves around. And that's what it's all about. And what I mean is you got to shake your body. Soma means muscle. Matic means movement. So somatic movement is muscle movement. And whenever you do it, it helps you to relieve stress. There's a really interesting thing about animals in the wild. And if you are not aware, we are animals. Just to help everyone understand if you don't know anything about the human genome. But other than the animal concept that we are, there's this specific thing that happens in nature after a mammal experiences a specific form of stress or danger. So they'll immediately have danger. So they'll run, right? Book it, they're out of there. The reason they're able to move so fast is because of stress, because of cortisol. Because cortisol and stress, it helps your muscles to pump and to actually get yourself out of danger. That's what it's for. It's used to get you moving, period. Whenever you're working out, you're using cortisol, but you're using it in a positive way. So whenever you're in fear and in danger, you use that cortisol like the gazelle, right? You book it, you're out. The cheetah's coming, you're out. You can't even see it move so fast. That's all you hear. You just hear like rustling, and suddenly there's dust everywhere, and then the gazelle and the cheetah are like 2 miles apart. Like, how did they get so far? It's crazy. Those guys are so fast. But from there, what happens is the gazelle, once it's in safe place and once it realizes that the cheetah has not gotten it, it's gone. It'll tremble its body in small little movements. And we used to say a thing, you got fear like the gazelle. Look at it trembling. It's so fearful. And that's our stupidity being put onto the gazelle. But the reality is the gazelle realizes that it does not need cortisol in its system anymore because it makes it tired, it makes it tense, and it makes its heart race. So it's not relaxed. So the gazelle knows that if it shakes and trembles, somatic movement, that it can release the blood from its muscles to move it back to its digestive system to begin to relax. Now, this is what we do as humans, right? Let's say the cheetah is your spouse and you're in the kitchen and they pissed you off somehow, some way, right? And now here you are walking around slamming all the cabinet doors. You're making sure that everything that you put on the counter is loud and obnoxious. You're making it a point to be recognized of your furiousness. You are enraged, but you're enraged in a way that actually you're not in danger, really. You're really not in danger. But your mind is still having the reaction that you're being attacked. So it's still having the process where you're releasing these hormones that you're being attacked. And no, you don't let it go, right? You don't sit there and do somatic movement. You walk around festering and you keep having thoughts that build on the fact that you're pissed off. And now you're having a complete conversation in your head with someone that's not even there, justifying your own point, but not theirs. This is called, once again, the vicious cycle of stress because you are putting yourself in a specific situation where you are not controlling the things that you take in and the way that you're reacting. And if that's the case, then your mental health has been now compromised and you are feeling endangered within your mind. And that can, the imagination can grab that and turn it into wickedness, if you will. It could turn it into the craziest things, and we all know what that means. We've all had these crazy thoughts that suddenly you're just thinking this crazy stuff. And you're like, man, let me reel it back. Dang, I was really out there with those thoughts, a little insane. I need to check myself. Or maybe you don't, and then you keep those thoughts going, right? That's where things get a little crazy. So instead of banging all the cabinets together and slamming all the little dresser drawers, do a somatic movement where you shake, right? Shake your body a little bit, de-stress, try to relax. De-stressing literally means relaxing, removing cortisol from your body by changing your mindset and the fact that you feel that you may be in danger. Are you really, though? Question that. And then you have to make a firm decision if you want to stay there. That's the part most people have the hardest with, even myself sometimes. Sometimes I'll justify being mad at my wife just to prove my point that I'm mad. And it's just like you're not affecting her at all. You're just making yourself upset. So why are you staying mad just to let her see that you're mad? It's like just say what you need to say and move on, bro. Don't be walking around slamming cabinets. And so also, meditation is a really, really good way. Some of you may think of that as prayer. It is not. I'll explain the difference. Prayer is when you actually are looking to get a higher source of being to assist you with a thing, right? So you pray to this higher source, whatever you want to call that. But meditation is whenever you actually focus on your inner states of being, your inner awareness, your inner self, that part of you that is the I am, right? Because if you close your eyes and if you pretend that you don't have a body, and if you just imagine yourself being in darkness and you start to talk to yourself, who's talking, right? Where's it coming from? Is it your brain? It's not coming from your brain. Your brain is just a byproduct of this reality, this physical structure. Who is the thing keeping this body alive is the question. That's the mystery, right? The soul, if you will, right? That part. That's the I am, not your ego. Your ego is just that guy. You created. But that's another conversation once again. So with that, those are some tips. You can just really understand that. Take it in jest. Understand that that's a segment of little small cues you can do for self-help cues in your daily life. Let me just go back through it really quick before we take this break. You can move your body daily by specifically exercising or even just beginning to walk. Corpus, just walk. That moves blood and nutrients. You can start stretching. Once again, the people that are the most pain, that are in the most pain in my office are the ones that are the least flexible. So stretch more, drink more water. Somatic movement, which is shaking, looks like the hokey pokey. You shake your fingers and hands and you kick your feet and all that fun stuff, just like the hokey pokey. I know it sounds hilarious, but that's the best description that everyone knows. And then de-stress, meaning take time to relax. Take time to like relax your mind and your thinking. Just sit there and just do nothing. And then meditate, which means to take like 3 minutes and just focus on how you feel in the moment and what's been going on to make you feel the way you feel right now. And you'll find that you'll suddenly be off on a tangent. But with that, like I was on a tangent, we're going to go ahead and take this break and listen to our sponsors. Speak soon. Okay, now we can just take one up.
No, I think that's even when one ear hurts and the other one feels great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When we were moving to Texas, we got in a hit and run with an 18-wheeler. My mom was
How long is the break?
the last thing I wanted to do
And
was
then we'll start again.
2 minutes.
Actually,
and Harvey made me feel like I was welcome.
oh, I gotta put my mic on.
No, I'll push it to you in a second.
Offering their platinum membership for only $9. For shortcuts, a platinum membership, $9. All of the fantastic benefits of being a platinum member.
Is this just like over a bunch of countries again?
Center, clubhouse facilities. Sure to take advantage of
I'm only hearing
all shop merchants.
country club.
Family of golfers for Short Country Club, located in the heart of Portland, just 10 minutes away from downtown Memphis Christi. So hurry up to North Shore Country Club and get your platinum membership today. For information, Call Amber Davis at 361-643-1546.
I usually get all these
Short country
things. They're like pictures.
coastal beds for Country Club. Nice. Up the
It's cool.
all right, well, there.
We got 20 seconds. Hit the number sec. 3. Three, 2, 1.
You're fine right there.
Yeah.
And we are back. We are back, and I hope that you guys took some of those tips and tools to mind. You know, there's a lot of cool gems in there. Really cool gems in there. Now, before we get into this next segment, which is just going to be a cool little conversation that I'm going to have with my youngest son, but I wanted to just talk about some of the things that are happening around Corpus. I'm really big into sports, and hence why we're on sports radio. But there's some cool stuff happening around high school basketball here with girls. Um, the what I would really like to see is how can we bring back boxing, right, Mike? How can we make Corpus like another boxing hub? It used to be huge, right? Like, what happened? Yeah, all this grappling, jujitsu, and all that. Yeah, yeah, but we can still bring that up too, because there's a lot. I have a lot of friends in mixed martial arts here in Corpus, and they're doing some cool stuff. So, we're gonna have to see if we can get some more of that going, because I'm a huge fan of those two. And but even swimming, I'm a huge fan of swimming, and it's crazy that we don't have too much swimming that is highlighted here. But it looks like the Toloso Midway boys swim team finished third, which is pretty huge in the UIL state swim meet. Yeah, I don't know if you all know, but swimming's difficult. So I've done it. I used to dive. It was fun. But with that, actually, with my youngest son, he's not so much into sports. And at one point, he was doing mixed martial arts, and it was good. He was doing Aikido. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Aikido. Yeah, it was awesome. It was like Aikido. Have you ever heard of Aikido, Mike? Yeah, Aikido. No. Yes, yeah. Aikido is when you use your opponent's body weight against you,
It's the
against them. Yes. Thank you. My bad. What did you remember about that class?
um I remember doing the same move for like 1 week.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got to get down. But what move is that?
Get it? It was just a bunch of arm twisting, like you do it.
Yeah, yeah. They would learn how to roll without a fall. So it's a shoulder dip. Yeah, the shoulder roll, and then learning how to roll out of a fall to where you can easily stand back up. And it does have to do with like an arm twisty, like quick twisty thing. I remember watching him do it. It looked like it would hurt.
You should.
But after so much, you get used to that. Your body starts to. It's because you had tiny little bones at the time. You still do, but even more tiny. So with Aikido, I think it's also about the fact that you had a really good instructor. She was really good at helping them to. She was soft enough because they were still little kids, right? But she was stern enough. Suddenly, she turned into this like other woman. She was suddenly sensei. I'm like, oh, wow, Sensei Kate got real.
It was like off mom and then
Yeah, it was hilarious. She was actually a pre-K teacher. So she had that like softness to her where she was like always good to kids, but yeah, and then she turned into someone that could break your fingers. It's like, what happened? Wow, what a difference. Yeah, but not like her. She was very much a different style of teacher. But so next, we were thinking because Corpus does have all these cool things to offer, and we wanted to actually give a little bit of shout out to Urban Air. Um, I know that they're a pretty large company, and they've grown here in Corpus. They have the new Urban Air that used to be the Urban Get Air, yeah, and the Urban Air, it's different inside. We've been a couple of times. We most likely will go today because it is a good spend. Now, let me just tell you, for all of you parents out there, don't get me wrong. If you got 5 kids, 4 kids, even 2 kids, taking them to Urban Air for a day pass, it's ridiculous. It is like it's almost like one of these hooks games, right? A little bit cheaper than hooks game, and not hooks game, the ice race. My bad. I made fun of the hooks. Wrong people. Sorry, but it's okay. With that said, the membership to get into Urban Air is really reasonable. They have tiers of membership. You can get the easy membership, which is I think it's like $9 a month, and I think we have the deluxe maybe, which is like $16 a month.
that's pretty good.
It's amazing considering once on a day pass is like $30. So if you have kids, get the membership, right? Get the membership because you can add on more people when you get discounts on their membership. And it's a good time for kids, excuse me, for kids to go out and get active. That's the whole point. Get out, get active.
Dad,
What are you going to do there today?
mostly basketball, but I like to get air better.
Ah, I think it's go ahead.
I just like the structure more. Also, the mascot scares me.
The little dude with the hat.
Yeah, his head's too big. It's like a
Yeah, I mean but that's not where we go. We don't go for the mascot. We go for the fact that by the time we leave, you're wet and sweaty. It's the best. That's the whole reason. You need to be sweaty. You need to sweat. You need to get energy out. You're a tiny child and you burn so much energy. No, this is what children are made of. Either you burn energy or you sit down for a little bit of time and then you'll have that moment where you just wild out and you're all over the place and you haven't put this energy anywhere and you're talking like a million miles per hour and you won't actually stop about anything and you just keep going and you don't realize. And then me and your mom are looking at you like, man, he should have burned some energy today, man. He should definitely. And that's why today, in this rainy day, we're going to go to Urban Air because it is a nice thing to do to get a kid energized today. So, with that, it's been a great time. Thank you, Kai, for having this time with me.
You're welcome.
Corpus, you guys have a good day. You have a good Saturday, a good weekend. And for all those practicing Lent, good luck.
Good luck with the social arts. Don't break your bones. See ya.